Alrighty people, hello and welcome to a new YouTube video. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to run through my fundamental outlook for the week and kind of for the preceding weeks. And I'm going to generate some trade ideas from this analysis. So let's just get straight into it. So I'm going to go through the US dollar, euro, JPY, NZD, AUD, XAU, right? So those are the pairs those are the currencies and gold that I'm going to run through. Now, obviously there's a lot to go through, so I'm going to try keep each one brief. I'm not going to go too in depth, but this document can be found on my Twitter if you want to go look at that, @TraderTJT. So you can go look at this document in more detail. Now, let's start with the US dollar. So as you can see, the first thing said here says Fed showing no signs of changing policy stance and rate cuts aren't looking likely until at least summer. So that is basically the key thing to note with the US dollar. And it continues to be evident that the Fed are maintaining a hawkish stance. Now, why are they maintaining a hawkish stance? Well, because there's no clear signs of slowdown of inflation to the 2% target. It doesn't seem very evident that the 2% target will be hit anytime soon. Also, the economy is remaining very strong, right? So we saw here PMI figures last week. They were in expansionary territory. They were mixed. One of them didn't hit forecast. I think it was manufacturing didn't hit forecast. However, let's actually have a quick look. Manufacturing was above the forecast and services PMI was below the forecast. However, they were both above 50, which is expansionary territory. And all the data points are kind of pointing toward the economy remaining robust and remaining strong. So you have this scenario with the US dollar where you've got this strong economy, or at least it's decently strong. You've got inflation still sticky. So what does the Fed do? It's logical for them to keep rates high. And the Fed made this clear in their meeting minutes last week, where they said that there's a risk in premature rate cuts. So it's pretty obvious, and it's being made pretty evident, that rate cuts are unlikely until at least the summer. So that's May, until at least then. Now, we have this week, however, something very important. And that is core PCE. So we have a very news heavy week, as you can see here, and I'll quickly pop over to Forex Factory. And you can see we've got a lot of red folder news. Durable goods came out, very bad. Consumer confidence came out, also not great. And then we've got GDP. But the important one, the real big important one, is core PCE. And this is going to be really, really, really important, because if you do not know, core PCE is actually the Fed's preferred measure of inflation. They prefer PCE over CPI and PPI. So, if we do get CPI decently below the forecast, this will be a nice sign for the Fed. But for my bullish dollar bias, it won't be good. Now, what you can see with core PCE is the forecast is actually at 0.4%, and the previous was 0.2%. So they're actually expecting an uptick. If we do get anything that hits 0.4 or above, it's going to be bullish for the US dollar, because it will further confirm that inflation is sticky. And the more sticky that inflation remains, the higher, basically rates will remain higher for longer, right? So PCE is absolutely pivotal in dictating this. It's going to be pretty pivotal. Now, whether it's going to just drastically change the stance of the Fed, no, it won't. However, if we do see drops, it will throw a little bit of a spanner in the works. If we do see it at the forecast or above, the Fed, that long dollar bias is just going to remain very nicely intact. So these are basically the fundamental reasons why I'm still bullish US dollar, and I see the dollar trend just continuing. Now, you can't see it here, but this is the Dixie. I expect this very nice trend, this is the 4-hour chart, to just continue. We're in this retracement phase, and I expect it to continue. And it's basically for those fundamental reasons that I believe this will be the case. Now, I've got analysis on all the other pairs, and I'm going to keep them a little bit more brief than the US dollar analysis, because obviously US dollar is the most important one, really. So in the Eurozone, what we have is we have CPI actually quite low at 2.8%, which is quite close to the target. And we also have some terrible economic data coming through. Now, the ECB, it seems possible that rate cuts are on the cards at the next ECB meeting, which is the 7th of March. So obviously, as you can see with the Eurozone, there's a very decent potential that we see rate cuts on the horizon. And this is the fundamental disparity you're beginning to see. This is why I'm looking for shorts Euro USD. You have the Fed likely looking to keep rates higher for longer, and the Eurozone in this difficult spot where it seems likely they're going to have to cut sooner. So I'm placing a trade looking to take advantage of that fundamental divergence. Now, with the Japanese yen, the Bank of Japan has this ultra loose monetary policy, right? That means their interest rates are negative 0.1, right? But this has been known for a while. This is very priced in. However, what's interesting is when are they going to start raising rates? Now, we've had more recent data suggesting that Japan's rates will remain low for longer, right? And why is this? Well, Japan has been slipping into a recession, and basically, it doesn't look great. They've got ultra loose monetary policy, but they're slipping into a recession. They need to start raising those rates because the Japanese yen is getting annihilated. But it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to do that anytime soon. So that is why I'm playing this Japanese yen weakness. Now then we've got the NZD, New Zealand dollar. So the RBNZ is basically, it's the Fed of New Zealand, is maintaining a hawkish stance, and actually they possibly could be raising rates further. So they're not even finished raising rates. And why is this? Well, their inflation, or their CPI year over year, is 4.7%. That is the highest of the major nations. So they're really struggling with their inflation, and they need to bring that down. So it looks likely that the New Zealand or the RBNZ is going to possibly raise rates, right? And you can have a look over here let's have a quick look at the rates. New Zealand dollar, the rates are already at 5.5%. So again, this is another economic divergence, or a fundamental divergence. You could have New Zealand raising rates further while the Eurozone could be dropping their rates. That's a fundamental divergence. So obviously we're going to see increased inflows into New Zealand dollar and outflows from the euro. So this is a very nice potential trade. And then with the AUD, it's somewhat of a similar situation to New Zealand. The RBA seems unlikely to drop rates until at least summer. It seems unlikely they will raise rates, but more likely to keep rates higher for longer. And this is also because of inflation at 3.4%. And it's actually forecast to increase at the upcoming CPI, which is today. So let's actually see if that was the case. I'm not sure when it's being released, but let's see. Tuesday 27th CPI, not yet released. So it's released later this evening. But that's going to be pivotal, because if inflation is at this forecast or higher, very strong sign that Australia cannot drop their rates anytime soon, because this is nowhere near a 2% inflation. This is a lot higher. So there you go. And finally, XAU. Now, there's been no recent war tensions. or war escalations, strong US dollar, little recessionary fears in the US, very few, and the Dixie's remaining strong, and we've got a hawkish Fed. So overall, to me, this means gold is going to be weak, and therefore, again, I'm going to be looking for those plays. Now, as you can see here, this is the COT data. I'm not going to go over this, but you can look at this in your own time. Again, it supports some of the trades, doesn't support others, but as you can see, NZD very, very nicely supports NZD, very nicely supports JPY. But anyways, you can look at that in your own time. So let's get into some charts, right? So let's start with Euro USD. So you can see from that analysis that I just did how you can really see the fundamental divergences. You've got the US dollar, you've got the Australian dollar, you've got the New Zealand dollar, all with interest rates high and looking like they're going to keep them higher for longer, and even in New Zealand's case, raise the rates. Whereas you have the Eurozone and you have the Japanese yen, where first off, with the Japanese yen, they have very low rates, negative actually, and it doesn't look like they're going to raise them anytime soon. And the Eurozone has decently high rates, but it looks like they're going to have to start dropping them soon. So you can see how the economic divergence is there. And this is where I start to look at the technical analysis to start to try and take advantage of this divergence. Try to find where will the money be flowing and then hop in trades in that direction. So for Euro USD, obviously I'm bullish US dollar and bearish Euro, so I'm looking for shorts. Now, we've had this continuous trend since the start of 2024 that I've been talking about, and now we've retraced back up. I firmly expect this to continue to the downside. And in fact, I'm in a trade on Euro USD. So this is a pretty important high over here. And you can see how price came up over here and then rejected away. And I got in and around there. But we have since continued this trend up. Now with this heavy data this week, I think there's a decent chance we get data that supports this trade. Obviously we may not, but that's what I'm expecting. So if I wasn't already in my trade and I was looking for a trade, I would be waiting for a nice shift on the 1 hour, retracement back up, and then continuations down, targeting at least the lows down here at 1.07, right? So that is what I'm looking at on Euro USD. So let's see if we get that. Next, we've got Euro NZD. Now, on Euro NZD, you can see it's very, very similar to Euro USD, right? Get this out of the way. It's very, very similar to Euro USD. Continuous downtrend since the start of 2024. And again, we've retraced into this area right over here. Now, I think this is a very nice area. You can see that broke through it. This is kind of turned into an area of resistance and we already start to react away. I think this is a fantastic trade. I'm not in it, but I've definitely been looking at it. I'll get it over here. I've definitely been looking at it. Is to do something like this. Get in, if we retrace back up, get in, stop loss around there and target the lows. Now, obviously you can wait for some more confirmations, but you could have even got in here. But this again seems to me like a very nice trade. Now with all these trades, you have to look at what events are coming up because they can be pivotal and you have to, be cautious, right? For example, with the NZD, we obviously have the cash rate and the monetary policy. That's this evening, right? So you want to be careful taking a trade before that. But there is a very decent chance they come out with a hawkish stance, right? So obviously you could also miss the move. We could just see this plummet to, when that news comes out. And that's what I actually expect that to happen. But let's play it as it comes. So that is Euro NZD. Very, very nice price action in my opinion. So let's see if we do get that continue down. Now we might get the news come out, we might get a drop, retracement, and then we might get a continuation. If that happens, I will 100% be getting in this trade. So let's see if we get that. Now with the Euro AUD, as you can see, the trend is not anywhere near as nice. And that is because it's only really, well, in my opinion, the AUD has only really been in this place where it seems like they're going to remain hawkish for longer in recent times, right? So that is why this is the case. And we're actually, as you can see, we've just tagged that high, but we have reacted quite nicely away. Now, I'm interested in this. However, I do want to see more of a trend shift on Euro AUD before I see any trades. I want to see at least price come down, maybe break these lows, something like that. That's what I would like to see. Alternatively, we have swept these highs. So if we did, let's say on the 1 hour, if we do get another break of structure and return up here, then I would be happy to take that trade. But I'm going to want to see a little bit more bearishness before I take any trade. So that's Euro AUD. USD JPY. I'm not in these trades. This is something else. But with Euro AUD, as you can see again, USD JPY, as you can see, very, very bullish since the start of 2024. And I think we're possibly due a little bit of a retracement, possibly lower. Again, I don't know, that's just how I feel. If I look at the daily, I think we could come back down here before continuations up. But as I said, I play it as it comes. If I see some nice price action that I think supports this trade, I'll get in this trade. So if we come down and we have a little bit of this, then I'll happily take this back up. Also, if we see price break come, I'll also take this. Right now, the reason I'm not looking for a trade is simply because of this choppy price action. So I'm not going to get in on that choppy price action. I'm going to wait for some more decisive moves. Like, I think this was a good area to get in. Came up, bang. I think in here was a good area to get in. I don't want to get in up here, right? So that's what I'm waiting for. I'm either waiting for price to come down lower, up, or break, and then continue. I'll just draw that for you. Or, right? That's the kind of two scenarios that I'm looking at there. AUD JPY, very, very nice. Again, very similar. And you can just see that continuous price action up. Now, I think, again, this is actually a little bit, you could argue overextended. So I wouldn't mind seeing it come down a little bit lower for continuations up. But also, as I said, I'll play it as it comes. There we go. I'll play it as it comes. So it's not a bad area, but I would like to see it come down. I think this is a good area over here. I would like to see it come down a little bit lower. But also, if we get some strong impulsive moves, fantastic. I'll look to take those trades. NZD JPY, exactly the same analysis, guys. You can see how it's very simple. It's kind of slowly edging down in anticipation of the rate decision. If we come down, look for that trade. But if we get some impulsive moves up, I'll also look for that trade, right? I'm with technical analysis, I'm actually not, as you can see, it's not complicated. It's really not complicated. I'm just looking for some retracements into clear levels or some break of structures and basically break and retest. The main thing is, do I have the fundamentals supporting my trade? If so, I'm happy to get in. And finally, I forgot gold. I'm also in this trade. As you can see with gold, since the start of 2024, not the craziest downtrend, but a downtrend nonetheless, right? As you can see here. And we're since in this retracement phase, and we've taken out a few highs. And as we've come into these highs, you can see how we've had pretty strong reactions away. Now, I'm in a trade. I got in right about here, somewhere in here, as we took out that high and then rejected away. We've gone up. I'm still in the trade. So I'm basically looking to see, is price going to continue down? So I'm in this trade, and I still think it's totally a valid trade. If I was to look for re-entries, again, I would like to see, if I was looking for a re-entry, a little bit more of a break and then continuations down. So basically, guys, that is that. That's all the pairs on my watch list. That's the fundamental analysis. Obviously, it's a lot of information, a lot to digest, because it it takes me a lot of time to prepare, so it's hard to explain in a quick video. But I hope you find that insightful. Now, the last thing I'll say before I let you go is, with all of these trades, make sure you look at the upcoming calendar, right? Because obviously you wouldn't want to be taking a trade just before the NZD official cash rate, right? It's better to wait on very big news events like that. I'm currently in Euro USD shorts, and the reason is because I actually, with my trade, I stay in that bias until the data shifts, and I don't see any reason why the USD data will shift against what it's currently been doing. Okay, durable goods didn't come out great, but I see no reason for it to shift. Let me just do this. I don't see any reason for it to shift. For example, prelim GDP, I don't expect that to come out far weaker than expected because we've had continuous strong data. I would expect those trends to continue. So basically that's just a little insight into the way I analyze these things. So anyways, I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this insightful. Subscribe for, I do weekly videos of this exact analysis with fundamental breakdowns and trade ideas, and I'm doing daily videos. So follow along if you're interested. And yeah, let me know your ideas and your trade ideas on these pairs as well. Thank you for watching.